Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's tonight. It's the big show. Are you guys ready for a big one? Yes, No Brainers coming at you live. I'm Big Daddy Zach the Goat with my compadre, my
Did
mister
you
from a
hear
different
that?
sister. And I don't know what else I can call you. My side, he hates when I call him sidekick, so I won't. D-Rex, what up, brother?
Whenever you see the mic muted, it means I'm belching profusely. And then that coordinates with being Christmas time. We have this little, Buddy from Elf, right? We have this little shelf toy, and you hit the button, and he says various things, but one of them is his belch that happens to be about 10 seconds long. With "Did you hear that?" So
That's awesome. I love it.
that was my rendition of it, but I did save everyone from hearing that belch. So
Well, we thank you.
long story
And
short, I'm doing great.
fabulous. Good to hear. And we have a fantastic guest tonight. I'm very excited about chatting with this young gentleman tonight, Jacob Salem. He is the owner, founder, CEO, president, the big kahuna at salemspeakers.com. And he has a sundry of other things going on, and we're going to find out and dive into that. Jacob, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and then we're going to get into what you do.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm so excited to be here.
Hold on, I totally forgot. I had to let the studio in and cheer, so go ahead.
Love it, love it. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. I'm honored to be here tonight. Jack of all trades, master of none. I've been able to build and sell 2 companies successfully. We've made over 15 million through the industry of speaking, coaching, and selling online courses. Have over 1 million followers on Facebook, right? Woohoo, we could clap for that too. And we've been able to serve a lot of people over the world. And I think if I could just say one thing about myself that I want people to know, I've been able to make a whole lot of money, serve a lot of people, but only because I really believe to the core of my being that you can have, as Zig Ziglar would say, you can have everything in life you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want. And so every single day, myself, my team, and everybody that we serve, we continue to ask, how do we help more people achieve what they want in life? And whether that be in financial, business, family, relational, spiritual, and I love helping people. So my goal tonight, as we record this thing and hang out, is to see if we can't help some of your listeners achieve something else in their life, and maybe somebody can avoid some of the pain and hardship that I've had to go through to get to where I am. And so I'm excited to spend some time with you, excited to see where the conversation goes, and truly, truly honored to be here.
Thank you. And one of the coolest things, our show's called No Brainer because we try and get out there and show people that truly being an entrepreneur or business person, helping others, growing and becoming something is just a no-brainer. And that's why we interview amazing people like yourself. And quick little tidbit, Zig Ziglar, very, very impactful in my life. I met him when I was a kid.
Nice.
And here's how it was impactful. When I got in trouble, my mom would make me read a Zig Ziglar book, a Dale Carnegie book, or whatever, and then I'd have to write a report on it. Literally thought I was in hell. Looking back, greatest mom on the planet. Couldn't have done better by turning me into a motivated, successful, positive person. So,
yeah.
So, where are you located?
Business front is in Chicago. I actually personally bought a home in Michigan back in 2020 when the interest rates were low. We moved our family up here. So I live in Chicago. Business is based out of Chicago. Or live in Michigan. Business is based out of Chicago.
Well, that's hilarious because my compadre is from Michigan.
Yes, sir.
That's awesome.
Where
to
do
talk
you
about
live?
the Great White North.
Just outside of Flint.
Where?
Just outside of Flint.
So your business is in Chicago, but you live outside of Flint.
That's right.
How did that come about?
So I was born and raised where we are now. So in the home office I'm standing in, born and raised here. I have 3 beautiful baby girls. And as we're thinking about where we wanted to raise them, wanted to bring them back closer to family. And I'll throw this tidbit in there now. I'm also a pilot as well. So in my own recreation life, fun life, so I can fly back and forth to wherever I need to go. It's only about an hour flight. And so I also gotta have it as a tax write-off, right? Gotta use it for work. And so absolutely. I love flying back and forth, little Cessnas or Piper Arrows, whatever I'm renting that day. But I have a lot of fun doing that. And so we moved here to be close to family.
Well, that's cool. Is there, and this is maybe you don't want to tell me, but is there tax purposes for being in Chicago versus Michigan, or
no? It's really just that was the face of the company. So we were there, right? So I lived in the Chicago area for about 10 years, and then also I host regular events. I'm a speaker, right? I'm a speaker, coach, online course creator. I host events all the time. I can host events at the John Hancock Center, downtown Chicago, a nice, beautiful, prominent skyscraper where people are willing to come in to spend time on Michigan Avenue which is a whole lot more marketable than saying, come see me in Flint, right? Bring a gun.
I don't know. If you told me that I could get an actual Bavarian chicken dinner in Frankenmuth from Thanksgiving till now,
yeah,
I would put the two toe to toe.
Fair enough.
Put the two toe to toe.
I'll give you that one.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but
I
it
know.
sounds probably very good.
You have no idea.
I will. So I'm from Jersey originally, and now I live in the United State of Florida. And I will put Jersey pizza up against Chicago all the time. I think it's better, but Chicago still has the best hot dogs. I don't care. You guys put all that junk all over it. Now, to me, that's a hot dog. When you put, you really could put anything on a hot dog, but Chicago just does it right. And I love it in the airport. There's one of the other restaurants that says if you are over the age of 14 and you ask for ketchup, we will throw you out.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I love it. So what got you into the speaking world and coaching?
Yeah, great question. So, man, we're going way back. So I was originally called into full-time ministry, right? So I'm an ordained preacher. I was called into full-time ministry, which is just preaching the gospel, which is just telling people that Jesus loves them, right? That's the core of my being. It still is. The million followers I joked about were predominantly built under the umbrella of a Christian ministry. The name on Facebook, Jacob Salem, is @chaplain_Salem. So I still carry that umbrella. What I realized early on in my ministry, and I still believe I'm in full-time ministry, I just have ministry in the marketplace.
Sure.
What I realized very early on in ministry is I was not going to be able to get rich in the process. And I believe God would rather have his bunch have it than Satan's bunch, right? And I knew I was called to build businesses, to serve people. I've always have that gift. I sold my first company when I was 21 years old. And so I've always had that knack of building businesses, building at scale, hiring team, creating SOPs. And so as I was in full-time ministry, I was $115,000 in student loan debt. And I was like, I got to find a way to monetize the information in my head so I can use the gift of gab and actually make some money in this thing so I can pay off the debt, still serve people, still do the pastoral stuff. And that's where the Zig Ziglar stuff came around, where I had already kind of remembered the name Zig Ziglar from my dad's days in Amways back when I was a kid. And I saw they had a certification where you could go to Ziglar Inc. down in Dallas and you could get certified. Their Ziglar Legacy Certification Program to teach their programs, building the best you, building winning relationships, and goal setting and achievement. I was like, cool, I can pay this money, go get certified, leverage my gift of gab, and go start serving businesses to make some money back. And then I will use my business to fund my ministry. That's always been a passion of my heart and still is. So I got into the speaking space because one, a preacher, and then two, I was trying to use that gift of gab to actually make real money, right? And I know there's some preachers out there with private jets, but I haven't quite figured out that loophole in the universe just yet. And nor do I think I will.
Pretty soon we're going to be calling you Jacob Copeland.
No. Yeah, I don't even want to go down that trail on this podcast, but no.
Let's get you some fire in your eyes.
Yeah, I make money by building businesses, and I use those businesses to fund my dream life. And the way you grow a big business is by you serve enough people, you solve enough problems. That's what we do, and I've used that as a mantra of my life.
That's that. You know, I knew I liked you for a reason, not other than the fact you seem like a really great guy. We haven't met in person. We met formally through Facebook and other places, but yeah, I mean, I just from your posts and stuff, I knew my wife and I are both ordained pastors, and
oh, awesome! I didn't know that.
My wife runs the church's school. She's
nice.
The vice principal or whatever they're called.
Yeah,
and I run security at the church, but.
Nice.
I've seen that. I don't know. I object to that, but
don't object. More shootings happen in churches than anywhere else. So
you run the iPad.
No, I don't. That's somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Where are you actually? I guess I should know this, but where are you actually based out of?
Well, it's a little town called Apopka, Florida, which is northwest of Orlando.
Okay, cool. I mean, the hat kind of gave me a general demographic of where
yeah, I've been here for 30 years, and I like it. I mean, you know, you just can't beat wearing shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, it's freezing here.
And it's funny. Let's dip into ministry for a minute. I mean, I'll dip into
that. We'll go into the weather part of it. But
yeah, we will. But my mom was she was a diamond at Amway, and so
nice.
You know, that's where I learned who Zig Ziglar was and Skip Ross and all those guys.
Do you know that we still do all the marketing for the Zig Ziglar Corporation? So I
Yeah.
invested into being certified, went out and tried to build my business, reached back out, ended up closing them as a client under a marketing agency umbrella that I had started. And we have managed all of the marketing for the Zig Ziglar Corporation now since March of 2014.
Wow.
That's where I think I met you guys, because I was looking into the Zig Ziglar coaching or speaking rather.
Yeah, my
I
agency.
mean, I'm called to speak, and I've got evangelist calling on my life, and I just I feel this is my tool right here. And
it works.
you know, I really enjoy it. Funny story. Monday nights we do a Bible study at a private cigar club, and people go, "What, you talk about Jesus and smoke cigars?" Yes, we do, and it's got more people come in. I mean, our group has grown from just a couple guys. Now I think we're close to like 40 people who come on Monday night. So I mean, it's a blessing. You never know where you're going to meet Jesus, and I don't care as long as you do.
That's right.
So that is just awesome. And where did you go to school?
So seminary, I went to Olivet Nazarene University, where I started with a lot of degrees, but I ended with one in religious studies. And so that's where I went to seminary. I am actually a high school dropout, though. I did drop out of high school on my 16th birthday, went to a paramilitary academy in Battle Creek, Michigan, where I earned my GED at 16 years old. But then I went to Olivet Nazarene University, is where I got my, I guess, my formal degree that I still don't use to this day.
The reason I ask is because my sister went to Wheaton.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Makes sense. So that's how I ended up in Illinois, right? So we were down in the Illinois area for about 10 years because of seminary. And so I met my wife, where we got married, had our first couple kids, and then ended up moving up here to Michigan.
Excellent. Derek, I know you're chomping at the bit. You want to ask questions, especially about Michigan, because I know you miss your homeland.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. No, I was just, when did we move? We were in Grand Rapids. So
Awesome.
we were kind of a pretty close hop skipping away from Chicago, but we moved here in 21. So now I live in a little old town called Disney World.
So you both get the Sunshine State.
Yes, Derek Derek's actually goofy at Disney.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dick.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm missing more and more things about the North, but one thing that I believed on day one that I believe on day 1500 or whatever it is, driving in the snow. I mean, just no more of it necessary whatsoever, even with the right car. Just, I don't know. I'm good. It's one of those things, where you're like, hey, been there, done that. Do I ever want to do it again in my life? No.
We had a guy on last week who is actually a diamond in Amway, and he lives up in New York. Great guy. He's been entrepreneur since high school. He decided, do I spend money on drugs and beer, or do I spend money on vitamins and make money? He goes, oh, that's the route he went. So, it worked out for him, but he loves it up there. And I said, bro, I'm just going to let you one little secret. We don't ever shovel sunshine. Nope.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I did a time lapse that I posted on a couple of the social platforms. We got hammered recently, and so I did a little time lapse of me, snow blowing the snow. But I enjoy it. I like the snow. If it's going to be cold, I'd rather have a lot of snow. The last couple of winters, we haven't got a lot of snow. It's just been cold. So I'm grateful we got snow this year, and I enjoy it. My kids enjoy it, and I don't mind it.
Yeah, my kids are all grown up. One of the cool things was that I got to take my kids up for Christmas to my mom's, and it actually snowed on Christmas Day.
Nice.
And they're out in their pajamas playing in the snow. I'm like, guys, I bought you guys winter clothes. Let's go change. They didn't care. They were just sledding down my mom's hill. And so your kids probably love it.
They do.
Yeah. So give me a day-to-day basis of what do you do? Tell me how it works in your company. When you started obviously you were a pastor, and you opted because you said, hey, I can help people. We can make money doing this. How did you just pull up the bootstraps and just put the nose to the grind, as they say, or tell me a little bit that.
Yeah. So I'll pick up back on the story a little bit on how we got to where we are, because where I am now is far different than where I was. I'm blessed now. We have income, we have recurring revenue, we have an amazing team. An amazing sales team, an amazing staff, an amazing fulfillment team. But it didn't start there. I didn't have mommy or daddy's money. I literally had $115,000 in student loan debt. and nobody to support me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll go back there if I can a little bit, right? So I'll talk about business in general, and then I'll talk about how I did it in the speaker space, and then also how I grew the agency. And it is bootstraps. We just go back to the same thing I've already said a couple times. It's what problem do I solve? I said it in different ways, but what problem do I solve and who do I solve it for, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can make more money by solving problems. Money changes hands when a problem is solved.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't care, somebody listening on here today that might be thinking about starting their own business, it goes down to that. Money changes hands when problems are solved. So what problem do you solve? Who do you solve it for? And then why will they buy it from you? Because even if you have the best product or service in the world, it doesn't mean that people actually want to come and do business with you. And
Right.
so I put that out there. And so for me, it was, I created a relationship. All business is about relationships. It's why I'm even on this podcast with you guys tonight. We don't know what relationships this might open up for all of us, right? Because I'll throw this out on my socials. You'll throw it out as well. Hopefully we can impact somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So my first relationship obviously was with the Zig Ziglar Corp. I was certified. I went out and I actually started cold calling on real estate offices, mortgage professionals to say, hey, I have these training programs. I'd love to come into your office. Was even able to land a few. I then went and started hosting my own events, right? I now have this event where it's going to be a 2-hour event. I'm going to cover A, B, C, or D, and started selling tickets to the events. And then that turned into one of the people that I had served reached out and said, hey, Jacob, I see everything you're doing on social media. I saw your website come up. Would you be interested in helping me with social media? Which now planted that seed all the way back then on a marketing agency. I then reached out to Tom Ziglar, and this is one of the key pivotal points of my life that changed my life forever. It's why I got the 2 comma couple words behind me. It's why I've been able to make 15 million in this space. And it's why we're continuing to scale our company to where all things staying the same, will probably do 6 million in 2026 if I can just stay on this path. And it all came down to this one conversation where I reached back out to Tom Ziglar, who is the proud son of Mr. Zig Ziglar, with an email saying, hey, Tom, and it's really key on how I wrote this email too. First and foremost, before I even say I wrote that email, mentorship and coaches are truly the fastest path to success in business and in life. You find that person who has already achieved what it is that you want to achieve, and then you do whatever it takes to get a seat at that table so you can learn from them to avoid those pitfalls and mistakes. So I reached out to Tom, who is somebody who was at the top, right? I was trying to get to the top. He was at the top and said, hey, Tom, I came to your certification back here. Here's everything that I'm doing right now to grow my business. Here's all the success I've had. Here's all the failures that I've had. I'm showing him that I'm taking action. Here's where I think my business is pivoting. I need to get closer to you guys. I'm willing to move myself there. I'm willing to work for minimum wage. I'm willing to scrub toilets with enthusiasm. If that is the only opportunity you have for me, just so I can get close, right? Kind of like Jesus, I was just trying to touch the cloak, right? They had something that I wanted to get close to them. Now, unlike Tom, and I know Tom like a father these days, all these years later, he didn't actually answer that email for a couple months. So a couple months go by, and then he sends me a message on Facebook. And here's what I actually think and maybe even know happened. After he got the email with me asking for help, he started to watch me to pay attention to the actions that I was taking to see if I was somebody worthy of getting help, right? Because just because you want help and just because you ask for help doesn't mean you're somebody worthy of receiving that help. And so he reaches out a few months later and says, hey, do you have time tonight for a phone call? Now, I'm broke as a joke, $150,000 in debt, trying to make money. Of course, I'm going to talk to Tom Ziglar, right? The son of Zig Ziglar. And he essentially says on that call to me, hey, we have 1.2 million followers on the Zig Ziglar Facebook page. We haven't quite figured out how to monetize that. We have Billy Cox with Billy Cox Motivation, who is currently helping us. And we want you to be willing to be menteed under him. And we want you to take over the social media page. And if you can learn, and this was the pivotal point for me, was if you can learn how to turn 1.2 million likes into $1.2 million, you'll have job security for life because you're going to be doing it for us. And then you can go do it for other business owners. And I love the quote, which Myron Golden gets the citation for this quote, which is, who you believe determines what you believe, and what you believe determines how you behave. Right? So I believe Tom Ziglar. Who do I believe? I believe Tom Ziglar. What do I believe? I believe that if I can learn how to turn 1.2 million likes into $1.2 million of job security for life, all my financial problems will go away, right? That then determined how I behaved. So I had a small, very, very small monthly retainer that they were paying me to do that work and be menteed. And I literally took that and I invested into books, and I took that and I invested into CDs at the time. And I took that and I invested into online courses like Lewis Howes' course at the time, and Amy Porterfield's course at the time, and Ryan Dye's course at the time, and read the book Invisible Selling Machine, and all the different things to learn how do you actually make money online. And that to me was the starting point of what everything that I've achieved now, which was circling back to one, how do I turn 1.2 million likes into, $1.2 million, which clearly now we know how to do. I had to learn the difference between digital marketing and social media marketing. And I had to learn what it meant to create ad campaigns that actually generated quality leads that you could then nurture those leads and turn them into sales. And now I know that I've learned these skills that whether I'm helping a lawn care company, or whether I'm helping a speaker, or whether I'm helping somebody who's selling underwater basket weaving, whatever, when you learn proven processes and proven systems, you can duplicate them to build any business.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, that's how it started. Was I bootstrapped it. I was willing to reach out to people. And then even after it got started and after I started making money, there's still, and I'm not going to take the whole podcast talking about it, but there's so many different millionaire mentors that I reached out to. I asked for help. I invested in. I've now invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into my own coaches, because it's those people who can help bridge the gap to help you learn what you're missing so you can go out there and build the business and build the life that you actually deserve.
Awesome. I mean, I don't even know how to come back from that. That's just like, wow. That's just fantastic.
Are you going to end it right there, Zach? Or are you good?
Sorry?
I said, are you going to end it right there? Are you mesmerized? You're good? I mean,
yeah, go ahead. That's to me, that's entrepreneur coming out of Dirt 101.
Yeah.
And then the sad thing is, I see what you're saying, what Tom was doing. He was watching you, because you're right. And the one thing I learned many, many years ago when I was in the network marketing games, you don't ever pay for someone to come in, because they're never going to do anything.
Yeah.
You got to make them do it, And I mean, I just, yeah, that's awesome. Did you move to Dallas, or did you do it remotely?
It all was remote. It all ended up, it wasn't enough to pay my car insurance. Right? It was, so we did it remote. It was see what we can do with it. And then that ended up going on. So let's go to the next phase. So my agency, how did my agency scale? One, I then got another millionaire mentor, and I'll name drop him. Michael Ray Newman was his name. I ended up working for 3 of his companies for free as a marketing agency, because this guy owned 12 companies. And I was like, all right, if this guy owns 12 companies, I want to own 12 companies. How do I get closer to him? Right. How do you get close? How do you get your seat at the table? I love the quote too. I don't know who gets the citation for this. I love the quote. If you can't afford a seat at the table, serve water. And it just means serve. Right. And that's what I was doing there. So that helped me there. But then down the road, I'm now, creating the social media content. We're starting to figure out this Facebook ad thing. Facebook had a program at the time that is no longer in existence called Facebook Go. So this is now 2014, maybe early 2015. This was back when your Facebook marketers actually helped you. Now, if you run Facebook ads, you get the guy making $12 an hour sitting in Cali who doesn't actually know how to help you. They call you as the meta marketing pro. Back in this time, there was a program called Facebook Go, and they essentially said, Jacob, if you're willing to spend $1,500 a month on ads, we will help you through this 6-week program spend the $1,500. And I didn't have $1,500. So I reached out to Tom at the time and said, hey, Tom, if you spend $1,500, Facebook's going to help me run the ads. And so I literally went and got formal training and formal certification this was back when you had, I don't remember what it was called. The Facebook Ads Manager was called something else at the time, but I'm drawing a blank as to what it's called. Can't even think of what it was called, but it was a different platform. So then I started running ads for them. And after I started running ads for them profitably, I went and started creating courses. And that's where courses kind of came in the scene. I now own a brand. Sellcourses.com is another brand that I own because I love selling courses. But the first one I created was Secrets to Closing the Sale via Facebook, which was a spinoff of Zig Ziglar's book, Secrets to Closing the Sale, and then started scaling things from there. And so basically, goes back to another Zig Ziglar quote. I went as far as I could see. When I got there, I could see further. And we just keep taking steps and keep moving forward. And it's all about one handshake to the next handshake. And you never know who that person knows that can help you achieve that next thing in life.
Well, I think the relationship part is so important too, because I won't call myself a Facebook marketer, even though I manage my own stuff in Ad Center and Business Suite. And I've worked with multiple lead gen people and learned a lot, and I'm in it daily. But regardless of that, so much has changed with that platform in the last 6-7 years in terms of the value you can provide as a marketer versus, like you said, the $12 an hour person trying to mentor you out of Meta, or even the AI assistant, right? So
Yep.
I'm doing these like research studies with the Meta assistant, and I'm getting paid to do them, and I'm recording and working with them. And it's like the loss of humanity is really sad in those things, because like you'll tell it like, hey, summarize this campaign and tell me what improvements I can make. Cool. It goes to work thinking, writes out nice reported details, and I look at it and I read it, and it's like, dude, all that info you just spit to me in a really nice format is right here on my screen already. Like, if I'm not competent to actually organize the data myself, I
Yeah.
need you to organize it. I think, I've lost my expert status or whatever it may be. So given all those changes that have kind of shaken the universe in the past few years, and the Apple privacy laws and that kind of stuff, how have you maintained value in that space? Does that make sense as a question? So it used to be like you could just, and now you'll see them pop up all over the place. Like, hey, can you handle more clients? We'll get you 10 clients, and we'll only pay. You only have to pay a commission based on the sales you get. Blah blah blah. And it's just essentially some kid just chucking up a Facebook lead gen ad, and then chucking it
Yep.
in a go high level app and saying, oh well, you got to do better sales. So now that saturation has occurred, and those regulations have been put in place, and that AI is there, and that human displacement like survives, has that discouraged you from that path, or that specific segment of your business, or has it shifted how your relationships matter?
It's made us better. So
Talk
AI
about
is, yeah, AI is only as good as you use it, right?
that.
So we can leverage chat. I'll just go back to ChatGPT, right? And it's like I can use ChatGPT, and my team can use ChatGPT to write copy in the voice of Donald Miller, or write copy in the voice of Jim Edwards if they want to be more markety, or write copy in the voice of whatever. It can also help you better identify your customer avatar. And then also the pixel stuff changed, right? The tracking laws, there's so many ways to get around that now to where it doesn't matter. It's all based off IP address stuff, and we can track using UTMs on every single click. I know exactly what image somebody clicked on for the first time versus the image they clicked on when they actually bought. And, our team manages all that. So we manage about 4 million a month in ads, spending about 80,000 a month on my very own personal ads. And the kid down the street who might look like he's a competitor, he is using marketing messages that are attracting junk clients. So that marketing message that you said is junk copy attracting junk clients. And what I mean by that is it might work to get some people, but the copy that says you don't pay unless you get it, blah, 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 that is attracting the person who doesn't really have a big marketing budget.
Yeah, that's
Whereas
like giving out free samples and expecting to sell prime rib.
when a client comes to me, I tell them I have a $15,000 a month retainer, and that's the starting point. And if you can't spend another 15,000 on ads, we're probably not a good fit. I'm attracting a much higher caliber business, and the kids that are running those ads that are 30-day money back guarantee, or you only pay when you get clients, they aren't even on the same. We're not even playing the same game. And so we don't use Ad Center, we don't use buy likes or boost post. We're using Ads Manager to run conversion ads, to actually use pixels to create the custom audiences and retarget audiences. And it's truly how I scale. Like, it's without some of that information, I wouldn't have ever been able to scale, which is some of this stuff that we're even saying is probably going over some listeners' heads that don't run Facebook ads. But like, it's just not, I'm not playing the same game as some of those people.
So you're not in competition with the Saeeds and all those that I get emails from every day about how they can.
Hey, I have some Saeeds on my teams, man. I got 3 Muhammads on my team. Don't get me wrong.
I'm talking more about the Instagram scrolling, right? Right. You're just scrolling, and hey, I can add this to your business, click here, and you're like,
I know the
okay,
copy.
okay,
Yeah.
this copy is sexy. Cool. You click the link, you click on their profile, there's like 12 followers, and you're like, what? Like, I used to do that, like when I was big into search engine optimization, and I was, working with agencies. I would always go into like the third party tools, and I would break down their own website and be like, yo, they can't even do for their website what they're selling me to do here. So like the credibility is just kind of shot. So I'm just talking about like when you're scrolling, And I don't know if you see those, Zach, but I see them all the time, because if you try one person out or whatever, right, you're going to get them nonstop. And, oh, I got to go to this guy, this guy, this guy. And you get your little shiny ball object syndrome there that you got sometimes. And then you just end up, and you realize at the end of the day, like, you didn't need to work with the right person, or you just need to learn how to execute all the time.
Yeah.
Or both, or whatever it may be. But, if you just keep flip flopping, swapping, whatever you want to do, it's the same result over and over again.
So, yeah, a lot of that just talked over my head because Derek's the SEO guy. He's the smart one of us when it comes to that stuff. So let me go back a little bit further back for you. Okay. You went to seminary.
Okay.
Did you start out as a pastor or associate pastor or a youth pastor?
Yeah, I appreciate you going back. So when I was in seminary and first out of seminary, my call was and is evangelism. And so I love just traveling and preaching the gospel and reminding people of that message that Jesus loves you, right? For God so loved the world, he gave his only begotten son, right?
Right.
That is the core message that I'm preaching. Go out into the world and make disciples, right? And just remind people that Jesus wants a relationship with them. That's always been the depth of my calling. And so I was preaching on behalf of my alma mater, Olivet Nazarene University, where I was able to travel on their behalf to Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, which were their local demographic of churches. So I would get the opportunity to preach and share the gospel, as well as fly their colors, fly their flag, if you will, and help promote the university.
Sure.
It's kind of how I got my start out there, which also that didn't pay great, but when you're a poor college kid, that's what it is. So that opened the door for me to start traveling and preaching to churches. And then eventually, so that was predominantly Nazarene. Eventually ventured off into some Pentecostal and some Baptist. Pentecostal's fun, right? Some Pentecostal and some Baptist and non-denominational, right? I'll go anywhere. Kind of like you said, I don't care. I don't smoke, but I don't care if it's cigars and a podcast. Like, I will go share the gospel at clubs and casinos, wherever I'm invited to share the gospel, I'll go. And so that's what opened that door for me. And so I loved traveling and preaching. I still travel and preach as an evangelist, whether that be at local Christian schools or churches or the like. And that's how it started for me. Shortly after getting married, so we were married in 2016. And shortly after getting married, my business was doing incredibly well. I've always been a systems guy, which is, I know that time is the number one asset I will never get back, which is why I don't give much of it. And actually, Zach, we went back and forth on even this slot where I live by my calendar. Time is the number one asset I can never get back. And I'm very, very cautious of that. So I've always been systems guy. I've always had team members. And so in 2016, my business, I was borderline an absentee business owner. It was doing great, scaling by its own. I had amazing team members. Just got married. My wife and I were like, okay, well, what's next, right? What's more? Well, what can we do at this point? And so we accepted a full-time senior pastor position up in Beaverton, Michigan, where we were pastoring a Nazarene church. And it was in those 13 months that we were there that I realized there is a massive difference between someone called into evangelical ministry and somebody called into pastoral ministry. They're not the same.
100.
And so in that season, I realized this is not my calling. I'm called to preach to the lost, to the broken, not to the saints that have been praying longer than I've been alive. Right? Because that's predominantly what it was. It was very healthy church of retired people. Yes. And I realized that just wasn't my demographic. We found out we were pregnant with our first beautiful baby girl. And so I ended up resigning, and I mean, I was bawling my eyes out. I was absolutely bawling my eyes out when we resigned. I did not want to, but I, was preaching from the pulpit. It's God, it's family, it's church, and then it's my business, right? That's the order of operation when you're a pastor. It should be God, family, church, because you're the pastor, then your business endeavors.
100.
And if my wife and I weren't happy there, my wife didn't want to be there. We were, ready to have our first baby girl. I knew I needed to resign to honor my wife. Sure. And so I'm bawling my eyes out, resigned to the board. We moved to Illinois, and this is, my business is doing great. I make real money. So I'm moving in with my mother-in-law, right? That was fun, moving into the basement of my mother-in-law's house. And so that we got over that quick. I found us a rental real fast, but right. And it's like, that next year is when, and I believe with all of my heart, this was the power of the Holy Spirit. Back to relationships, another big relationship about to come in. I honored my wife. I resigned from the church, went back to Illinois. I'm now focused on growing my business because that's all I can do. and we're now scaling the business again. I'm now back in operations. Let's, keep this thing going. And I get this phone call from a young lady, and I get an email from her first, which she emailed my Gmail email, which is almost impossible to find. And the email said, "Hey, Jacob, my name is X, and I'm emailing you on behalf of Mr. Les Brown. We attended a recent webinar that you hosted, and he would like to hire you for marketing services." I'm like, okay,
Les Brown. Okay, come on now.
Yeah. And that read like, yeah, your aunt from, Africa is sending you some rubies. Like it read like a fake email.
Prince
right?
of Nigeria.
Right. Yeah. It's Prince of Nigeria sending you money, and it was to my Gmail, which I don't even use, and it's hard to find. So I ignored it. Completely ignored the email. About a week later, get another email. Ignored it again. About a week later, I get a phone call. "Hey, this is X. We've been trying to reach you on behalf of Mr. Les Brown. We attended a webinar that you hosted, a few weeks back, and we would like to do business with you." And it's like 9:00 at night, Central Time, when I'm getting that phone call.
Right.
I'm like, this has got to be fake. I'm like, whatever. I'm sitting down. I had a little conference room table in the rental house we had where we were all working around. I actually had 2 team members working in my home office at the time. So I got Jesse Silas sitting across from me, and we got another dude named Justin sitting across from me. I'm like, I'm just going to call him back and see what happens. And I call her back, and she was like, "Hey, thank you so much for calling me back. This is real. I'm going to patch in Mr. Les Brown." And she patches in Les Brown, and he's like, "Jake, you're a hard guy to get a hold of." And I said, "Mr. Brown, I didn't believe it was actually you." And he says, "Well, listen, saw your webinar, saw what you're doing, from the marketing circuit. We're wondering what you could do with us." And I was like, "All right, well, I'd love to get on a formal call that's not 9:00 at night." And he said, "Well, listen, where are you based out of at the time?" I was in Chicago. I said, "Well, great, no problem. I'm actually speaking in Chicago tomorrow. And so can you and your wife meet me at such and such location? And I'd love to take you out to dinner." And so my wife was 9 months pregnant with our first daughter, right? Who is now Arabella. So she's 7 now. And so we go, and he ends up we meet him at a hotel where he's staying. The host that was hosting him had a limo taking him everywhere. So he picks us up in this limo and takes us to dinner. And now I'm sitting at dinner with Les Brown and a bunch of other millionaires to really catapult myself into another level. And then that next year, the next 12-month partnership I entered into with Les Brown blew up my business bigger and better than anything else could have ever blown it up. And I 100% believe with every ounce of my being that it was the power of the Holy Spirit just blessing me with that relationship, because I was willing to do the hard work, to continue to serve people, to continue to get real results, right? That's without getting real results with people, you don't keep getting big names. But also honoring the fact that I honored my wife. I felt like God was like, "I'm going to let your business take off to a level that you've never even achieved." And we just absolutely exploded over the next 12 months. Oh, but again, man, back to relationships, doing the thing, putting yourself where the good luck can find you.
That's again, another story that just blows my mind. I mean, Les Brown, I used to watch him on, do you remember Daystar?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I got the satellite and everything back in the day. And, I'd watch him all the, my mom said I had to have it. It was the thing, I think that's right around when Amway was going Quickstar or whatever. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But Daystar came out, and all the big names that I'd grown up with were on there. And it was just like, that is just so cool. And it brings me back. I have 2 questions, but I want to bring this point real quick. It brings me back to, my mentor was talking the other night, and someone asked him, how do I grow in ministry? How do I move up? And first of all, my mentor does not like titles whatsoever. First of all, as he'll tell you, they're not titles, they're appointed offices. So if you hear someone call themselves bishop or whatever, that God doesn't recognize a title. He appoints you to an office, right? And he said, well, what I did was, he had a church, a large church. He stepped down, and he said, "I'm going to stay here for a while, and but I'm going to be the," he became the janitor. He says, because at the end of the mop is where you're going to find it. He goes, that's right. So you got to be a servant to work your way up. And I don't remember if the person enjoyed that answer or not, but he literally brought out cleaning supplies and a mop, and he's like, "This is where you're going to find your breakthrough right here."
Well, it's the same. It's the difference between that and what Jacob said earlier, writing that email to Ziglar, or was it email? Call?
Yeah. It was an email to Tom saying I'll
do whatever it takes. And now if I think back to people who've wanted to work for me, people who've said that to me, it's like 1 out of 1,000 people, right? It's just, but you know what the reality is we're talking about moving up, leveling up, stuff that's kind of ridiculously, it sounds ridiculous when you're talking about like, faith and ministry. Think of the guy who is at the top. That's the same guy who has ownership of every small task too. So there's times when the guy at the top, is cleaning the toilet.
That's right.
So who is that guy? The guy saying, quite often, not all the time, but a commonality is the guy saying, I want to move up, is the guy saying, I'm too skilled or good to clean the toilet. And he's saying that to the owner who's in the meantime cleaning the toilet and going, why don't you grab a brush, buddy? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because this is what needs to get done right now to create that ambiance for you to move up, to create that atmosphere, that setting, that clientele, or that atmosphere for that to happen. So I think people miss that completely.
Well, and I also believe if you have a servant's heart, the anointing's going to find you if you're called. And when it, whatever it might be, it's going to get you, right? I mean, so I left the church a long time ago, and then I came back. And when I came back, I was called to be a pastor. I've been told since I was a little kid I was going to be a pastor. My grandfather was an evangelist. He was best friends with Dave Wilkerson, if you know who he is. And my mom anyway, she held all 5 titles, and as though you don't call them titles, and she wouldn't either. If you called her anything, she'd get mad. But I was supposed to follow in that footsteps, and I didn't. I went on my own and did a bunch of things I shouldn't have. And when I came back, I was the sound guy, and I stayed up in the booth, and they had me speak one time at Thanksgiving. I read a poem or something, I don't remember. And I came off the stage, and the pastor's like, dude, where did you get that swagger from? I said, that's why I'm not on the platform. He said, what do you mean? I said, because I love to talk and I love to hear myself talk, and it would go right to my head. And I said, I'm not ready for it by any means. Oh yeah, you are. Come on. I'm like, no. And I believe there was a long time that the Lord had to shape me, because you put me in the pulpit. I mean, just like when Derek, I always joke about it. When I went to Podfest and I met some of the big pod stars there, and we sat around and talked to them, like, Zach, why do you do a podcast? Why? I said, do you want the story I tell people, or do you want the truth? And they're like, the truth. I go, because I like to hear myself talk. I said, I got an ego.
Everybody loves the sound of their own voice, right?
Yeah, I got an ego, and I just love it. But don't get me wrong, I have fun. I love to interview, and I love to do all that.
But that's being a human too, right? Like, you're always like, oh, I'm going to sound the most important, the best person when I'm talking. But the reality is, it's not in that. It's the listening.
And it's funny because I do voice work, I do voiceovers, and I'm a voice actor and all that stuff. I don't like my voice in particularly. I just like to hear myself talk about things, especially this conversation. I love when I have conversations. Derek's kind of stymied because he caught me off a couple times. It's like, Zach is without words. What's going on? But so I have to ask you.
You just lost me completely.
So let me ask you.
I was born and raised a conservative. So hurry up with this.
Give me 1 second. I was born and raised a conservative Baptist, right?
Yeah.
And then I married a 7-day Adventist, which I think is where my walk went completely wrong. As my mom would say, you were unequally yoked. What's wrong with you? But it is what it is. I got beautiful children from it, so I can't say anything wrong. Now I'm non-denominational. What is a Nazarene? I've heard it. I've definitely heard of it. I don't know what it is. I know it's Christian, obviously, but where does it fall in the Christianity spectrum?
So, just to clarify, I am non-denominational these days.
Welcome to the tribe.
Yeah. I just I love Jesus, man. That's
all that really matters.
If I had to pick, I'd almost say I like Pentecostal better because they're more fun. But non-denominational. Nazarene is not too much different than any other Western Christian. They believe in entire sanctification, right? We don't drink wine when we take communion. And honestly, as you asked me the question, I'm so far separated from it now. I don't know that I can even give an educated answer other than, one of the things that does separate them, if we had to have some of the debates between the Baptist and the difference, we don't believe that once saved, we don't believe in once saved, always saved. And I think I still hold that true. Right. And I do believe in entire sanctification, which essentially means to me is I've devoted my entire life, my whole life to Christ, knowing that he is sanctifying me through and through, that I will never get to heaven on my own, that I need God's grace to save me, and that there's nothing I can do to earn my way to heaven.
Right. As
And-
well, if you just follow Paul, and he'll tell you,
Right.
it's the race is not it's not a sprint, it's a long journey, and it's a treacherous one. So,
Yep.
the closer you get, you can fall off. He's always going to be there to dust you up and clean you up. But
Yeah.
thank you, Derek. And oh, he muted himself. So there we go. He's such a
Got the whole studio view.
Yeah. So, okay. All right. So it's part of obviously the Protestant family, the Baptist,
Yes.
evangel. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but yeah. Okay. All right. I get it. I have heard of Church of the Nazarene. I just didn't understand or what it was. And maybe I should do some research. Now, okay. So you were touring, you met Zig, you met his son, you met Les, you moved into the business world. Your goal is to help obviously make money and help people make money.
Yeah.
Do you think with everything that's going on with AI and everything else that coaches are going to go away or speakers are going to go away?
Well, the speakers for sure no. No, the answer is no to both. AI should make you better. Respectfully to the people out there, and this is about as close as profanity I get, is if you suck at life and you suck at what you do and you're just not truly willing to work, sure, it's going to replace you.
Mm-hmm.
But to the people that are willing to work and learn how to use it, AI has made me better. AI has made me smarter. AI has made us fast. It's made my entire team faster. We can get way more done in way less time, which allows everybody to make more money. And it can even find mistakes in things. Like I was using it the other day to fix some DNS records because I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Like I'm asking it questions that I couldn't get from support. I can get to it faster by, it's truly only as good.
Your mic's off, Derek.
Yeah, my cat let her recycling, okay? Got me some slack. Yeah, cat just took a big D in here, man. I'm so glad it cycled. It smelled so bad.
Every week, the cat.
Real talk. Back to the focus. What were you? Not that it's super relevant or super want to be technical, but you give that as an example. You were fixing DNS records. You couldn't figure out what was wrong. What tool were you using? What were you doing? Were you just giving it prompts? Or
Yeah,
did
I was
you have
just
a
making
tool integrated somewhere to actually do it for you?
No, so my team will use other stuff like Sora, and they'll use all these other cool things that are out there right now. I don't personally use those just because I haven't had to yet. I use ChatGPT for almost everything. So I was literally uploading screenshots of ChatGPT saying, and this is getting super technical, but basically saying, hey, I have this, Go High Level sub account that is, integrated with the lead connector. And we're getting bounce issues through our Outlook email address. And it really came down to I was missing an NMX record, and we were using a subdomain for the lead connector that was email.domain.com. And when you use the email dot, that's the same domain that Outlook was using. And I was able to then figure out that the Outlook subdomain was conflicting with the lead connector subdomain. And all we had to do was switch that around, add in the missing MX record. And so I'm just uploading screenshots. So AI is only as good as the questions you feed it.
Well, like what you just described, I totally understand exactly what you were just saying. And a lot of people won't because they haven't just worked with that, not because they're dumb, just because they're not in that industry or whatnot.
Yeah.
But it can't understand it for you. Number two, the thing that kind of makes me nervous about it, nervous and confident at the same time, right? Two extremes, is that it can't discern. It can't discern, or it can't replace humanity's discernment. And the thing that makes me nervous about that is that when people talk about AI replacing people, or they use it in ways that make them lazy, they're telling it to make decisions for them, right?
Right.
And I think that's a little scary. Whereas I kind of enjoy the fact that a database and a conglomerate of any type of intelligence, period, cannot be a human being, right? Because AI wasn't creating God's image. So AI does not have those levels of humanity, nor can it. It can only emulate it to some extent.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you, in different phrase, say the same thing that I like to say, is it's only as good as the questions you ask it and the work that you do, right? It's like if you want it to make you lazy, it will. If you want to let it replace you, it will. And hey, if we believe in the movie where it's going to turn itself into a robot and come take over the world and take over humanity, that's why I pay for it, and I say please and thank you. I want to remember, if it ever comes to life and takes over the world, that I was nice to it.
I mean, I do believe we are living in kind of a modern idiocracy in a lot of ways, in terms of
are you referring back to
in terms of people wanting to kind of, for example, you asked it to kind of help isolate a variable in an issue you were having because you didn't have a foothold of where to look necessarily. You're like, the MX record is there, the subdomain is there. You didn't understand the conflict, right? So no big
Right.
deal. But the thing that's happening too with AI is people are using it to kind of accomplish simple tasks that take less effort to do than to instruct.
Yeah.
Right. It's like someone come here and clean my butt with toilet paper. It's like, well, what do you mean? You just got to wipe and get off the toilet. Like, this isn't something you instruct to do. So I think there's an element of that we have to be careful about. That's kind of infecting society right now, where people are like, do this for me. And it's like Grubhub, right? It's supposed to be easy, but you pay more for the wrong order. So you end up having to get on the phone for a refund and going to get the store to get your real order anyway. So it's like, you should have just gone, right? Happens all the time unless it's something simple. I think it's the same way with AI, and you just have to understand, like you said, how to use it to improve your workflow, not necessarily replace your decision making process, your discernment, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you something too, because I think this will help you, Zach, right? You're kind of always talking about like, hey, who do we talk to? Who do we get help from? What's the strategic thing we do? And I'm kind of always just pounding into, execute, execute, execute. Like, we can talk to anybody about any strategy, but at the end of the day, the consistency, the quality, the engagement, those are going to win the battle a million times over the course of a million years. So what I was going to ask you, Jacob, when you talk about mentorship, right, and you've been successful in multiple businesses, how do you take those two ideas and merge them, where you have a mentor, you have someone guiding you, but at the end of the day too, what gets the actual work done and the revenue flowing is the execution of what you do, right? At the end of the day, the boring, simple thing you make repetitive, that makes you successful, that like, I can solve this problem. I'm better at solving this problem. I can help this person solve the similar problem. Boom, boom, boom. When you just keep doing the same thing, that's the execution that scales the company. The mentorship or the assistance you have along the way gives you that mentality to do that. How do you keep that in perspective, like those two things? How do you honor both of those functional components? And did that make any sense at all?
It did.
Because there's such a thing as reading too much and executing too little, right? Like, when people are like, oh, I read a book every 2 days. It's like, well, cool. Like, how do you? And maybe you're special, and there are special people who can retain everything they read. But me personally, like, I could go through a 6-month period of reading 8 or 9 or 10 books, but then I need a 6-month to a year period of testing those things, of implementing those things, of doing those things to actually retain the things that work well for what I'm doing.
So two things that are true in my life, and how I want to answer that. I really believe in another popular quote. I don't know who gets the citation for the quote. It's not the big who eat the small. It's the fast who eat the slow. And I execute incredibly quickly on whatever it is I just learned to find out if it's going to work for me. So it's basically touch the stove to find out it's hot. Does this work for me? So if I have a mentor, and by the way, I have mentors and coaches I've paid that have been an absolute waste of my time, which I also need to find out too, right?
Sure.
So you touch the stove, see if it's hot, you execute. I execute very, very quickly. So how do I discern the difference between what the mentor is trying to guide me to?
Oh no!
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Whoa!
There
Just
you go.
Back up 5 seconds, Jacob. You cut
got me.
out.
You got me.
We were all on the edge of our seat too.
I think 5 seconds ago was, am I trying to discern what the mentor was teaching me, or trying to commit it to action? So I basically take what they did to achieve the result, figure out how to, take everything with a grain of salt. How does it apply to my life? And then I set one thing. So how I've been able to get two Comic Club awards, how we're microseconds away from getting the Go High Level Diamond Award, which is 1,000 active on SaaS, how I've been able to do 15 million myself, how I really believe I'm going to get 6 million, achieve 6 million top line revenue in 2026, is I pick one goal and I focus on that one goal, and I do absolutely whatever it takes to achieve that goal. Then when I achieve that goal is when I can set another big, hairy, audacious goal, and I just go after it, and I'm unwilling to accept failure.
Mr. Chet Holmes, man, you're a man after my own heart.
And so when the plan fails, I don't change the goal. I change the plan. And I just try again and try again and try again. And as long as the goal was worthy, right? I guess sometimes if the goal sucks, sometimes you do got to maybe identify the fact that the goal is the wrong goal, but that's rare for me. It's pick the goal, go to it. The other thing that I always, squash this myth, and I'm not a Grant Cardone yet, and I'm not some of these bigger dudes.
He said, "Yeah, that's awesome."
Yeah, but
don't have any lack of belief, but it's safe to say you're a fail fast, fail forward kind of guy, fail and controlled. And I try to teach this to people too, like the younger guys that work for me as well. As I'm like, they're like, no, we got everything has to be perfect. You sit. I'm like, well, while you were sitting on it, I tried 16 things and I found the thing that worked, because the risk, the risk and the failure of those. The only thing I know better than you is the risk involved with being wrong in every decision. And if it's controlled enough, I can get there faster, cheaper by doing it and stubbing my toe. And I don't really care how I look, because at the end of the day, that the result is there. You just have to discern what's controlled and what's not.
Yeah. Nailed it. Right. While they're sitting there debating whether they even want to take the action, I've already failed 7 times and found the 8th that worked.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, the reality is with all these Facebook ads, which I seem to spend a lot of money on, 1 out of every 7 works. Right. We have to fail 6 times. 6 of our campaigns fail before we get the one that scales with a profitable ROAS. Right. And it's like, those are the things that most people, they fail 2 or 3 times on Facebook ads and like, oh, Facebook ads don't work.
Facebook doesn't work.
Yeah. Facebook doesn't work. It's literally, I'm great at that stuff. Like, not that I will toot my own horn a little bit. We are great at Facebook ads, but like 1 out of 7 works. That means 6 of them failed, but it's like, I will fail very, very quickly to get the one that I can dump all my money into.
You're great because of a lot of small failures,
Yeah. And
we talked about that last week too, Zach. It's like,
yeah,
Facebook doesn't work. No, you don't work.
Right.
You don't work. You don't work hard enough, or long enough to get to the scalable, like you said, the ROAS, the pot of gold that actually makes sense to pour money into it.
The reality is, with all the different gurus and experts in the industry, I actually don't throw rocks at them. I think their systems work. Like, if you will work somebody's system, if somebody used some kind of system to get to an end result, and if you just work their system, I'm convinced it will work. I don't care if it's Facebook ads. I don't care if it's cold email outreach. I don't care if it's cold DMs. I don't care if it's LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, or even creating viral content, right? Cold snail mailers. It's whatever system. If there's a guru out there that has an end result, that has the cheese at the end of the road, if you will, like if they've already achieved that result, I believe that if you will just work their system, whether it's mine or somebody else's, that you can duplicate the same results. Success leaves clues, and all you got to do is follow them.
So I also, I'll
oh boy,
not to get back to biblical too, but I see this problem in the church. Everybody sits around waiting for God to move. And my philosophy is, you move and then God's going to either open the door for you, you're going to get a black guy running into it, but it's going to happen. You got to make it happen. Like, I used to love, we had a pastor used to always say, that check's coming, but you got to get off the sofa and go look in the mailbox, because
you're always the one telling me just to sit back and let him handle everything. And I'm like, dude, we just argued about this over text like 2 days ago. You have to explain yourself. I'm not calling you wrong, but you just told me, slow down, come to, and I'm like, no, we're struggling. I'm 24/7 until this thing is fixed.
7 days a week, like 18 hours a day, and you got to take a day to breathe and catch yourself. The Lord gave us a day to rest.
So what is the balance between trust God and God hates complacency, right? Can't you do both? I believe you could do both. Like, I trust, but I will not sit on my hands ever unless it's down the right path.
I mean, he even took a day off after he made the entire universe. So,
that's just because he's more efficient than you. He made you. He already had he had a cheat sheet, a template, right? So yeah, obviously, like, he was working smarter.
He was
I was starting to grin ear to ear when you said that. So the more successful I get, because I am a coach, right? I'm a speaker, I'm a coach, online course creator. I coach people, and somebody that I was coaching, I was talking to them about their business systems, and they were proud of a micro win that they had, and they said the line, which actually frustrates me, and it did in my reply, was I was able to close this agreement when I'm so blessed, and I get it, giving praise to God where God is due. And said, I'm trusting that God will send me another client. And I said, and so my reply was, it's a lot easier for God to send you another client if you cold message 100 people today and try to open up a conversation with 100 new prospects. Like, that's what it takes. Like, God can't open the door. If you got to allow God the opportunity to work. And it's like,
Well,
you can't just sit there,
just like
sit on
you
your
said
hands.
with your emails to Zig too. It's like
That
if
door would
you
have
think
never
about it,
opened.
if
Right.
you read your devotions and dive into the word every morning, first thing, 10, 15, 20 minutes, whatever, pretty much. And this is my biggest struggle because I'm fully aware of it and I suck at it. But your attitude and energy towards the day and people will open those doors when you do it 700 times. If you're going in and saying, I have failed today, those doors that could open won't open for you, even if you come across the same people. In people, have you ever split tested, like going into a grocery store or somewhere where you're just like, you're in the zone, right? Your energy, you're controlling everything around you. You're locked in, you're smiling at everyone, nothing affects you. And the way people respond to that, it's so, like, I could see how people use it to manipulate, right? Because it's so powerful. Going back to opening up those opportunities, like you said, with getting a new client, if you're cold calling in the right mentality, and your God is saying, give me the mentality, give me the energy, the wisdom to do this, you will find your next client. Could be in 10 calls, could be in 1,000. You'll find them though. You will.
Yeah.
You will.
Well,
So I don't think the trust is complacency, Zach. I think it's, for lack of a better word, almost attitude or outlook of how you approach everything that opens those things, because the people are there. Like you and I met, right? I had a better attitude when I met you, right? Here we are. How many years later?
Well, maybe you shouldn't be friends with me then. I mean, whatever. No,
But
I
you know what I
mean,
mean?
my mom has always said, your attitude will place your altitude. So
That's cool.
if you
That's a
whatever
cool
you
Amway
speak
slogan.
into your life, that will it become, right? So if you wake up every morning and go, oh, this day sucks, of course it's going to suck,
Right.
right? And if you
Self-talk.
wake up every morning, bounce out of bed, can't wait to drink my coffee, get the day rocking and rolling, I'm going to get done early, I'm going to get home, make dinner for my wife, I'm going to have a great day. That's how I do it every day. But I do take my time to take a day off. I shut down. I have to decompress. I mean, you know how my mind works. I'm in sales. I'm
No, we
ADHD,
don't.
and I'm going. No, nobody does actually. I'd love for someone to dive into that noggin, but they'd get lost. But it's just I have so many things going on, and you always say I get the shiny syndrome all the time. I'm looking for the next bigger, better, greatest. I've always been that way. My wife accuses me sometimes I have too many pokers in the fire, right? But it's a good fire, so why not get as many in there as I can?
I don't think it's wrong to have a lot of pokers in the fire. I just think your focus needs to, like he said, like he was going back to the Chet Holmes pig-headed determination, right? People who have 1,000 pokers testing things once fail. People who have 1,000 pokers, that's fine, but you got to test each one 1,000 times at one
I get it.
time. So, yeah,
No, I
right.
mean,
So you
I
just
don't.
have to lock in on a couple of them. So Zach and I literally like text fight about this all the time. I'm like, he's like,
Because he's going to kill
I
himself.
found this. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I'm just like, engagement, quality, speaker quality,
Oh yeah.
improvement of guest
No, I know.
quality. I just said these. I go, just take these 5 things and execute the snot out of them consistently, and we'll get all those. Then the rest, like you said, Jacob, the rest at that point is the relationships.
Well, and
That's what I
it's funny.
believe.
It's funny you said that, Derek, because I sit down and I have a lot of people on my Facebook, and there's folks like yourself and other people, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to start emailing people and see who wants to be a guest. What's the worst someone can say?
Nothing. You're gonna go. Are you gonna go to jail or get killed? No. So
I don't think
what's the
so.
problem?
I mean,
Like
you might know.
that is such a hard learning part of like sales, and
It
not
is.
just sales position, but selling yourself as a person. Understanding that no is almost irrelevant, right? It's timing. Like I could be the biggest jerk to you, and then when I think about you in a year and I have that problem, I'm going to be calling you like, dude, I have this problem.
You will
It's
be.
the no means nothing. It just means that your head isn't lined in the same area right now. So nothing's going to happen to you. You're just going to hit 1,000 people, and if you hit them 1,000 times again, or they remember you for some reason because you're some weirdo. Who cares why they remember you as long as they do? Then you're gonna get the yes or the
Yeah.
attraction.
And I'm sure, Jacob, you train, what is it? It takes 7 no's to get a yes.
Yeah.
Try
Or
700, man.
or in the good book, it says fall down 7 times, get up.
That's right. Yeah, you just
7 times.
keep swinging, and one, get as many no's as you can. Eventually, one's going to turn into a yes.
What do you prefer? Okay, so you have several different ventures going on. What's your favorite thing to do? Do you like being on stage? Do you like coaching? Do you like what do you like to do?
Dude, my favorite thing right now, which is,
Besides play with your kids? I mean, obviously, that's
yeah,
that's a
fly
no-brainer.
planes, right? Yeah, fly planes, hang out with my kids. Two
Yeah.
favorite things to do. Fly with my kids to breakfast. There we go.
Yeah.
Definitely top tier.
That was the baller. Hey, that was the
That's
baller comment of the month, Zach. My
There you go.
favorite thing to do is to fly to breakfast with my kids.
There you go.
that is truly. I will end up probably doing that Sunday. So it's fun, but these are little Cessnas, little prop planes, but I have fun with it. In business, my greatest enjoyment right now is being hard on somebody enough, believing in somebody enough, and then being hard on them enough to make them actually take the action they need to take, and then getting the result where they actually message me and say, "Hey, Jacob, I did the thing and I got the result." That to me is the most fulfilling piece of my role. So I do love scaling. I do love my businesses right now, salemspeakers.com, that we talked about in the beginning. That thing is scaling. I love chasing a new goal, a new big, hairy, audacious goal. I love scaling. I love hiring. I love firing too. Truthfully, I love hiring and firing. I love both. I love scaling. I love building this thing. I love chasing something big. But I as of the last 2 years, have begun receiving more of those messages of, I did what you said and it worked. And I found that the more of a jerk I am as a coach, where I'm like, just like the guy that I'm actually joked about, where the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm just waiting for God to send me that next client." I'm like, it'd be a lot easier for God to send you the client if you message 100 people today.
Right.
And, and so that's my most fulfilling part of everything that I do right now, is when somebody gets a result because they went and took action and I had no part of it other than believing in them and encouraging them and showing them a path, and they take the path. That is so much fun to me right now.
That's like in the beginning of the school year where you liked all the nice teachers and the nice coaches, and at the end of the year you liked the ones who were really mean that made you win.
Yeah. The more of a jerk I become as a coach, the better results people are getting.
And I know you're not a jerk, but by jerk being like really blunt about no excuses and accountability, like, hey, you want to
you're
get
tough
this
on them.
result. Right.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I just think you hold them accountable to the nth degree.
That's right.
It's not on you, and I think that's got to be a difficult. I'm speaking for you. You can nod or whatever you want, but it has to be a tough part about coaching and mentorship is separating direction from accountability.
Yeah. That was always when I first started. So I've been a coach for 12 years. March will be 12 years that I've been a quote unquote coach. The more money I make, the more work I realize I've had to do. The hard days, there are seasons for me. I do believe we should all take a day of rest, but there are seasons for me, and my wife knows it. She's seen enough to where ebbs and flows, right? There are seasons where I don't clock out.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's a season like
that's the season I'm in, bro. I'm sorry.
I'm actually in that season currently.
Me too.
But we are scaling well. And it goes back to this concept of a game, right? When you are winning the game, you do not want off the field.
Right.
And so there's 2 times of my life where I had to clock out, or where I couldn't clock out. Obviously, when you're losing. So in 2023, 140 of our active ad clients were hacked. And the hackers are spending $10,000 a month, or $10,000 a day times 140 accounts. And I was responsible. My agency was responsible for getting them out. I didn't clock out for that. That was a terrible season of my life. From that's a whole other conversation that we don't need to go into. But from July of 23 until November of 23, my business was losing $30,000 a month, every single month. And I was sued by 4 of those clients. So I didn't clock out for that entire season until I fixed it. Right. And then now, sometimes you got to fix the thing. You got to stop the thing.
Sometimes it's good Sometimes it's good not clock out, and sometimes it's bad. Like that was the same for me. Like in 2016 through 2019, I literally worked management, during the day. So let's say 45, 50 hours a week, and then 45, 50, or even 60 hours back at home 7 days a week on building my SEO firm and clientele from nothing to $2 million.
Right.
And I was able to delegate it finally. But then I had those, and right now I'm actually in a really bad turmoil season because from a consumer consumption standpoint, and in our area right now, it's horrific with certain things that I happen to sell and do service. So that's miserable, which sucks, because you just want the season to be over, and this one seems to be lasting a while. But then, like Zach, you remember, like, before we started the podcast, I was just again coming into another season where everything was on autopilot, and
Yeah, you were going on cruises every
I
other
was in
week, and
yeah, I was in Europe I went to the freaking Paris Olympics and toured Germany for a month, and I got one business phone call, and
Nice.
like I've been in those seasons too, where it's like, I can be gone a month, and I might, I still gonna log in for 2 hours a day in the early morning and get stuff done, but that's it, and just watch it come in. So I've been in both, and obviously we all prefer those hands-off seasons where you can fly your kids to breakfast. Um,
Yep.
but you have to recognize good and bad, the high seasons, and like just have a level of energy beyond what you thought you were. And it seems they get harder each time. They get harder each time. They get more challenging to your like actual abilities, and that's God obviously shaping you and molding you. And sometimes you're like, what are you doing? Like, I'm exhausted.
when you do
whatever.
your when you do your big events, like with cell courses or whatever, are you like the focal point, or do you let your team run it? Or
Yeah, so we did 18 events over the course of 24 months in 2024, 2023, 2024. No, that was 20. We did this one this year. So 2024 to 2025. And the short answer is no, but we used my brand to start beating the bait. But I actually really believe, like, to the core of my being, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And so my events ended up being more about the speakers that we were bringing in and the audience, and it was about me, to where the last two events that we hosted, and we're going to do these more in 2026, but it's not scheduled yet. I didn't actually have to do anything. I didn't have to speak. I didn't have to do anything. I just had to show up. And so no, we had to in the beginning because I was the face of the brand. I was attracting the people. I was selling the people. I was the expert. And as things developed, I don't want to be the face. So you actually asked, like, what do you like doing? Do you like speaking? No, I don't like speaking.
really?
So I don't.
I
do the
agree.
podcast.
I agree with that mentality. You had to do speaking. You had to be the face, but no, Zach. Most of us don't want to be a face of anything, really. Like we want the systems to take care of it. That's why you invest your time and your money and your faith, for the systems to take care of it. You don't want active energy to always determine your scalability. That's an end game.
You can quote me on this. It won't be long. Probably in 2026, I will have other people from my team doing the podcast interviews on behalf of SalemSpeakers.com. The only reason I'm doing this podcast right now is because this is my job. This is my role. I'm only doing it because I have to turn on the switch, because it's my job in order to continue to get more views and to get more eyeballs out there. And whether this thing gets 4 views or 4,000 views or 400,000 views, it's just my job to get out there and shake hands, kiss babies. And I do it because it's my job.
Right.
But as I scale this thing, I don't have to host my own events. We have teams and systems for it. I don't even got to go to them. And so we'll be doing more events in 2026. But I use my business to create my freedom and my dream life. And time is the most important asset to me.
So you're going to get all your businesses on autopilot. You're going to get rocking and rolling. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
We're going to exit. I'm going to be able to exit one of them. And some of that stuff I don't want to throw.
No.
I'll continue to scale. So assuming that we can scale the entity to 6 million a year, the multiple of that is pretty good. Scale it to 12 by the end of 2027, and I'll be able to do a pretty big exit. And then we'll see what I parlay that into. I'll never stop. So I did semi-retire when I was 30, right after we bought this home. After we bought this home, I was paying myself a very high 6-figure income from selling courses. My team was fully systematized. I actually did semi-retire. Like I didn't do anything. Like I didn't go pastor. I didn't do anything. And over the next 6 months, I became depressed. I ended up becoming incredibly overweight. And I was literally just playing Xbox all day long. And it was in that season where I realized that I always have to be chasing something. I have to be chasing something big. So regardless of where this thing scales to, whether I ever get that exit or not, or just keep serving people and scaling a company that can scale itself, I will always be chasing something big, because if I'm not, I literally end up just being depressed and overweight. And it was when I surrounded myself with a good coach and good mentor who helped me see that, and I actually saw other people achieving more than me, is when I realized that I just have that driven personality. It's why this past year I ran a marathon. It's why I went and got the pilot's license. It's why I go do all these things, because it's just innate within me. I have to be chasing something big, something crazy that just doesn't make sense.
So
Is one of your
you'll exit
Yeah,
because you
we're
have
gonna,
the end in mind. You're just saying scale.
yeah, we're
So
gonna,
you'll exit.
yeah, we're either gonna. It depends on. So it really comes down to the Zig Ziglar quote, right? You go as far as you can see, and when you get there, you'll see further, right?
Mhm.
So the companies that we're building now, really, Sell Courses and Salem Speakers are still under the same umbrella. When we launched Sell Courses, sellcourses.com, which obviously is a premium domain, so I threw down the money on that. We have the licensing program to be able to launch that. We launched basically salemspeakers.com and sellcourses.com at the same time. They're overlapping entities with the services being offered. Salemspeakers.com is scaling faster than anything else I've ever launched in my entire life. And that's coming from, we've done $1 million in a weekend for different launches. This thing is scaling incredibly fast. And I'm like, okay, it's scaling so fast, it will just eat sellcourses.com. And we can take sellcourses.com behind the barn and shoot it. And so maybe we sell them together, or, we roll them up into one company, or we just keep focusing on Salem Speakers. But what I'm doing at salemspeakers.com is I'm helping the up and coming speaker that doesn't know how to get speaking gigs, that doesn't know how to get the $10,000 keynote, that's never really been given a shot, that doesn't have B-roll footage, that has never actually been on a real stage. We're helping those speakers get stages. And back to the Zig Ziglar quote, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And I'm going to be the guy. This is for here first, right? So we're going to look back at this 12 months to see where it goes. I will be the guy that helps the 50,000 John Maxwell speakers get speaking gigs, that helps all the DIS certified speakers get gigs, that helps all the NLP certified people get gigs, that helps all the Brian Tracy speakers get gigs, that helps all the Ziglar people get gigs. Like all of these speakers that want stages that just don't know how to get them, or are unwilling to make the 100 reach outs a day. Those are the people we're actually getting stages right now. And the scalability of that thing is just ridiculous. We helped a guy recently get a 6-figure corporate contract, which was a little bit of luck, but the fulfillment of that guy getting a 6-figure contract over the course of, it was like a 14-month contract, but life-changing to him. And I got to be part of that is so wild to me. And so we're going to scale that. That's my current thing that we're chasing and enjoying. And maybe someday we exit it, or maybe we just let it run itself. But
so when you coach and teach, obviously coming from you, are you teaching people to do the same thing where you're building legacy for your kids?
yeah,
Right.
so
I mean, the goal is so my children don't ever have to lift a finger. Obviously, not everybody lives up to that, but is that the goal you try and implement, especially being a father and everything?
yeah, I think that's the goal. But if I had to be honest with myself, and I am honest with myself, right? So I'm 35 years old. The businesses that I have right now, unless I exit, are not going to leave that legacy wealth. So what leaves legacy wealth? Well, obviously a big exit that can do it, or real estate, right? And so real estate is the thing that you pass on to generations, or businesses that have true SOPs and true systems that if I died today, they're going to live without me. Right now, being really honest with myself, if I died today, my businesses last maybe 6 months, unless one of my C-level team members picks up the torch and tries to carry it, which I would bless them and let them do that if I'm dead. I hope somebody does that. Right. But the reality is, even though we have good systems and good contracts and good SOPs, if I died today, it might last 6 months. I've even advised some of my team members that have been with me for 11 years, like William's been with me for 11 years, and which I can't even believe. Right. And, I've told them before, one, you should take out life insurance on me. And two, if I die, you pick one of the whales that we have as clients, because we have a lot of whales we serve. I said, you pick one of the whales and you go to them and ask them for a job. Like, because this business will not, so that's just being really raw and transparent. What I teach now is I predominantly serve speakers, coaches, and online course creators, because I can very quickly and efficiently help somebody scale to $1 million a year in reoccurring revenue selling courses, which is where the Sell Courses brand came from. So that second 2 Comma Club award, which means you've made $1 million through one funnel, one offer, we launched the Jacob Salem Inner Circle, which is a coaching program where we only served one industry, one niche, and used 55 courses that I now license to other people. And inside 14 months, we did $1 million top of line, adding 300,000 yearly reoccurring revenue. And that's the brand that I'm licensing under that umbrella. So I can very quickly teach a speaker or a coach, and we now license online courses to say online course subscriptions is the true freedom. How do I afford to actually go take my kids to lunch, to breakfast, right? We'll fly the little 172. It's because we have over 1,000 people paying us either $49 a month or $99 a month or $17 a month or whatever subscription price I came up with to get them to subscribe to our courses. And that reoccurring revenue is what creates freedom. And so, I one day will have, I don't own a plane. I'm in 4 different clubs and I rent based off of whatever I'm trying to do that day. And I always joke, one of the days you'll see a plane with the tail number with RR on the back, right? I don't want a Rolls Royce. I like reoccurring revenue. And that's the model that creates freedom. But that only creates freedom while I'm alive or until I pass it on to my kids to run it. But I would never want them to do that. So being honest with myself, I think Grant Cardone's got it figured out, right? When he dies, sell the plane, keep the real estate. His kids are taken care of.
Well, your plane tail could have a 11X on it.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, exactly.
Do you well, okay, here's a good one. You get a guy who wants to become a coach or a speaker or both, but has no clue what his niche is. Yeah. Just like I like to talk and whatever. I mean, if you ask me, I know what I can coach on. I've been in sales for 33 years, and I'm pretty good at it from what I've heard. And I built teams and all that good fun stuff. But so that was obviously an industry I could dominate in, no problem. But you get a guy who comes up to you and says, dude, I want to do this. I'm all excited. He comes to your seminar or whatever, or sees you online, but has no clue what to do. Well, how do you direct that? How do you pull that out of their noggin?
It's not even pull out anymore. I just tell them what to talk about. So there's a lot of people that actually have the gift of gab. And when I started all of this all these years ago, I used to try to help the life coach and try to help the underwater basket weaving coach and try to help the music coach, try to help all those people. And now I'm just blunt enough to tell people that will never sell. Right. When somebody brings that idea to me and they either don't know their idea or they bring an idea to me that sucks, I just tell them, listen, I've made multiple millions in the space. That sucks. That idea sucks. That's actually why we started the licensing program at sellcourses.com, where I'm like, I used these 55 courses and made $1 million in 14 months. You can use the same 55 courses. We will brand them in your likeness so they look like you and match like you. And all you got to do is go sell them because it's what people are buying. And so I teach people to sell what people are buying, sell what's selling, sell what people are buying. And what is that? That's business coaching. That's marketing coaching. That's sales training. That's customer service. That's, things that actually have a tangible result. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a life coach, that's great. But life coaching is the hardest thing to actually sell, right? The most successful life coach in the entire world is Tony Robbins, but he owns businesses. Like, is he a life coach? Absolutely. He is a life coach. He is the most successful life coach of our time. But he makes not all of his, he makes a lot of his money through owning real businesses, solving real problems. And at scale, he answers the question, what problem do I solve and who do I solve it for? Which goes all the way back to the start of our conversation.
Correct. Okay. That's great. I appreciate that honesty. That's good because, people, I've been in this world and I did a lot of podcast shows and stuff, and people will be like, well, I want to get on and I want to talk about stuff. I said, what do you want to talk about? And they're just like, I don't know. I'm like, well, you better figure that out because you crack that mic, you got either 0 watchers or 1 million watchers, Now, when I first got into this, it was years ago, I was in radio, and it was my dream to be an on-air personality, and I was, and I loved it. But it was a part-time gig. I still had sold cars during the day. I was slinging iron, and I'll never forget when I was in school going through the training, you had to get past the fear because when you crack the mic, there's 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 people listening to you at one time. And that's the same when it comes to podcasting. Derek tell you he was at Disney and someone recognized him from another show we used to do. And it's that's crazy. Nobody's ever recognized me. Thanks, Derek. You're the better looking one.
I don't want to be recognized. It was not a club. Trust me.
And especially for the show. Oh, we love you, Trippy. I know you're watching. But you just find it fascinating that people, I guess, get like the shiny object syndrome, which I'm notorious for. And they want to do this, but they have no gumption right? They have no understanding of what they're supposed to do or how much it's going to take, the blood, sweat, and tears. Look, when we used to do another show prior to this, we'd maybe get 8 followers, 8 people watching it. I mean, we're lucky. I get excited every day. I look at my YouTube account and I'm like, dude, we almost have 10,000 subscribers. This is great. And then I go over to somebody like, Theo Vaughn or Joe Rogan who has millions. And I'm like, all right, I'm an idiot. We have 8,000 subscribers. Who cares? So when you get that person who may not have because like I said, I've been in sales for 33 years. I can teach sales. I can't teach drive or desire. Okay. You have to desire it, and if they don't have it, how do you tell them this isn't you, this isn't for you, this isn't your calling? Do you? Okay.
Now, I didn't before. I used to try to like push them, pull them, tug them, and now I'm like, dude, you either want it or you don't.
Right.
Like that's it. Like you either want it or you don't. And
we have a very good friend of the show who's a big real estate guru. He's also a coach and makes quite a bit of money at it. He's very good at it. And he will tell you, he wanted me to work with him and he wanted me to come on as his manager, run his sales team and everything. He said, but you have to do what they do. So I need you to make cold calls. And I'm like, dude, I don't make cold calls. I said, someone else does that for me. I go to the appointments. I close the door. I'm the face. I'm the samurai. I take their heads off if I have to, whatever it takes. I said, I'm not making cold calls. He's like, well, then you don't work for me. Okay, fair enough. I get it. I'm big boy. I'm old. I own it. You know what I'm saying? I know what my abilities are and I know what my disabilities are. And, but you get the young bucks who I think there's a lot of kids out there that if you got them molded properly, but you just got to get them molded. That's the problem. I think everybody, as you went through I'm not going to call it depression because I don't like that word. When you went through your little phase, you were upset for a little bit at life and they'd sit around and played Xbox and now they expect the money to start pouring in because, they're super fantastic at a game or whatever. Dude, you don't have the blood, sweat, and tears in yet. You're not making any money. You can't come on this lot and do what I do. So I appreciate the honesty you give people. I mean, that's really good because you could be, and you're a man of God, so you wouldn't be, but you could be a little shady and be like, dude, just give me your dough. I'll make you money. And then next on. And I think that's the discussion we had last week, Derek, with the guy who, Anthony, who's a phenomenal MLMer, and he is an honest one. And he'll be like, you have to do it or you're not going to make any money. That's just the bottom line. And I won't pay for you to come in and not make any money. So, so you have a team. How big is your team?
So we have 28 people that depend on my paycheck every month.
Okay. And they work in the office in Chicago or are they all remote everywhere?
Everybody's 1099. We have, okay. I think the number right now is 9 in the USA and everybody else is in different country. I mean, we got Bangladesh, the Philippines, Pakistan, and I love them to death, by the way. Do
you have motivational meetings to get them fired up and get them rocking and rolling?
I do have a C-suite now. So we have other leaders that lead those teams. I've been abundantly blessed there. But yes, I will show up and hype people up. But we have different teams with different roles, different divisions. Our sales team is led differently than maybe our tech team would be, right? They're just different personalities, different traits. And so we have different people in charge of it. So, and then I'm now in the process, which is fun for me, of building a completely different team under the Salem Speaker brand, which is a team that we're building to add to that. And so we've been incredibly blessed by the people we've been left with. But even that was blood, sweat, and tears. I've been asked to do a training or even a course or a book on how do you build a team like you've got? Because I think most of my team, I would say almost all of them, would defend me, behind my back, right? They would fight for me. If we had to get in a fight on the street, they'd fight for me.
Yeah.
And how did I get that, right? And how did you build that camaraderie? And William's been with me for 11 years, right? Dan's been with me for about 6 years. Nick's been with me for 3 years. Like, how do you do that? And the reason why I never created that course is because I don't actually know how I did that. I just love people, care for people, train people. And then it really came down to this. I've hired and fired over 100 people. And sure. The ones that are left are just the ones that are left, right? They fit very quickly. I do my best to hire slow and fire fast.
Right.
And if I make a wrong hire, and I've done it before and I'll do it again, I just own the fact that I'm not the greatest hire on the planet and it didn't work out. And I made a mistake, and we just move on, and we do whatever we can to move on gently with the human, because we're dealing with humans. And so make sure we're not offending them, but moving on to build the team and the camaraderie that we want. My team did become like family, and we just got a little lucky. I work hard enough to where the luck can find me.
Well, I agree. And when you fire fast, my wife's an administrator for a school, and she'll come home and she'll talk to me about something that's going on or whatever. And I remember she asked me, this is a while ago. She asked me, how do you fire somebody? How do you? I said, the minute the thought pops in your head, I should fire them. They shouldn't be working here. This isn't their calling. I said, then you get rid of it, because you will beat yourself up forever if you don't. And I said, and then you also have to do it, and excuse my brevity, I said, you have to do it where you're literally, this is why I say this. A manager told me one time, he's like, dude, you could tell somebody to go to hell and they'll stop, thank you, and ask you for directions.
That's right.
I said, you do it with kindness. You just love them, but just understand it's not for you, bro. So I appreciate, that's a great boss right there. Now, you touched on something. You talked about a book. Do you not have a book that's
No, I do.
Amazon bestseller?
I do. Yeah. Speaker Millionaire Secrets. So we talked about AI earlier. One of my most proud things about the book, Speaker Millionaire Secrets, is ChatGPT and AI was not used in any format in the writing of that book. Right. And it's 11 years of how I made 15 million through speaking, coaching, and coursing, and selling courses, from scripts I used to the exact funnels I used to the people I built relationships with. Some of the stories I shared on this podcast are in that book, but that's
awesome.
In that book, I actually show how to, and I am convinced, at the last event that I hosted in Chicago, I remember sitting at the back of the room, because I don't have a millionaire student yet. I have clients that I've made millions. I have clients that we've done $1 million launches and $1 million weekends, but I don't have a $1 million student yet. I've handed out 6-figure awards, meaning somebody came, coached with me, and they've made 6 figures because of me. But I've yet to have a 7-figure one. And at the last event, so if you're listening to this, get your copy on Amazon. It's $9.99. At the back of my event, I don't think I've ever heard the audible voice of God, but I felt through the power of the Holy Spirit almost so clearly that it was the audible voice of God, that somebody is going to buy that book, read that book, do what it says. I'm never going to talk to them. And then they're going to reach out to me and tell me that, Jacob, because of you, I'm a millionaire. And it gave me chills when I kind of had that thought, because I was like looking around the room, like, who in the room is going to be the one? Like, who's going to be the one?
I'm going on Amazon ordering right now. So
yeah. Well, if you want, send me your address on Facebook. I'll ship you a signed copy.
Thank you.
I
appreciate it.
But maybe you're the one, right? And it's like, I will have $1 million student, and I really felt God saying, dude, it's going to be somebody that you never even talked to, that they're going to reach out after it's done because they did what you said in the book. And that's how powerful I believe that book is. And we ship out. I actually have, I'm not going to turn the camera on, I have a stack of 250 next to me that tomorrow I'm going to have to sign them all, because I got to ship over 200 of them tomorrow.
You want me to email you or send you a Facebook?
Facebook works.
Okay.
And I'll sign one again tomorrow. I'm going to be literally, you'll see the reel. I'm going to do a time lapse. You put the camera behind me, do a time lapse, and me sign them on the desk here, because I got to sign all of them and ship them, pack them, and ship them myself.
Nice. Well, I know you have to get back to your girls. I know right. We took you away, dude. I so much appreciate it, because I know tonight is family night,
right.
And you took time to talk to us, and I'd love to have you on the show again, and pick your brain some more. I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more anyway, regardless. But tell everybody where they can find you, how they can find you. I know you've talked about your different .coms and stuff, but what's the best way to get a hold of you if they want to become the next millionaire speaker or coach?
So Jacob Salem on all social media platforms. At Chaplain Salem is the @ tag I've used on every social media platform. And then, of course, salemspeakers.com is a quick way to get to us as well. Would love to serve each and every one of you. You could do exactly what Zach and I did. We actually connected through my private Facebook account. So I have 2 main Facebooks. I got one Facebook account with 1 million followers under my name, Jacob Salem. But you can also, if you get Ninja, there's also the blue check mark that I pay for, of course, for the private account. And if you add me there, I'll add you. We can have good conversation. I'm the only one that monitors my private Facebook account, the small one. Of course, my team is monitoring everything else. So if you message Instagram or LinkedIn or even the big pages, that's not even me responding. So if you want to get me, find that personal Facebook account and we can message there, or reach out to us at salemspeakers.com.
Fantastic. Well, guys, we had a great conversation with Jacob tonight. We appreciate everybody watching. As you guys know, we're on all the social media platforms, and we're also on all the Audible podcast platforms. So check us out. Everything is no-brainer. Some might be no-brainer shows. Some might have underscores. I don't remember them all, but they will be in the bio down there. Our beloved editor, Laura, is going to put everything on there. We also have a sponsor that we're going to be talking about next week. We're waiting. I got to get a sample for you, Derek.
I only talk about things I use.
I know. That's why I got to get the sample. I told him, I said, we won't talk about you till we get a sample, and they're sending it. So get it.
Cool.
We're excited though. We've partnered with a really great company, and we've got another great guest coming up next week. So stay tuned. But I just, again, thank you so very much, Jacob. Again, we're going to talk a lot more. We're going to have Jacob back on the show so everybody can learn how to be a successful person. Forget about coaching or talking or podcasting or whatever. You got to become successful in life before you can do anything else. Until then, Derek, Zach, Jacob, we all wish you guys well. We love you. Thank you and peace.